Okay, basically what we're going to look at is Ansible as an automation tool. And what we mean is basically Ansible is a program. And then within this program, you have things called modules. Modules are like device drivers for an operating system. And the device drivers WTI would write for their units, and it would do things like get the status, make usernames, reboot plugs, and everything else. And that would ship with Ansible. And then the people that get Ansible, they write little scripts called playbooks. In these scripts, you can say, hey, call the WTI module and reboot these plugs, or call the WTI module and create these users. And what I'm going to show you is the difference between logging in with a command line interface versus using Ansible to create a user. So if you look at my screen, we're going to log in with the CLI to a WTI unit. And I got to type all this stuff in. And I got to look at my Excel spreadsheet, find where the address is, mpc.wti.com. And I'm going to look at my user, which is super1. And I'm going to log in. Then I'm going to look at my Excel spreadsheet again. And then I'm going to log into the WTI unit. Now what I want to do is I have to look up the commands to actually create a user on the WTI unit. So we're going to do one username, and then type the new user in, and then we're going to type the password in, and then we're going to look at all of our stuff and give it maybe a different access level, and we're going to go in and find out what ports. Oh, we've got all the ports already. So it's a service access, so we're going to have access to serial ports, SSH, and the web, and that's maybe we'll give it outbound protection on there. Then we're going to escape out, and that's our user. So now we're going to log out of there. Okay, now we have to do it with another unit on our network. So we're going to get into the lab, same username. Go look at my Excel spreadsheet. So I'm going to type in the username for this machine. I'm going to do the /f again. I'm going to create a new user, and the username is like super duper, and the password, and then the access level, and we're going to go down to the service access. We're going to do outbound access. We're going to turn that on. Escape out. Okay, we've done that for 2 units. Okay, imagine if you had like 150 of these things. You know, it's a clear pain in the butt. Or we can do the Ansible way. We're going to call the Ansible playbook. We're going to call the playbook I made, which is user add. So we're going to add a user, hit enter. It's going to run a script, so we're going to add super88 with a password of super88. And what it's going to do is it's going to go to those 2 units and add the user. So here we have the reply from the lab and the MPC units we did before. And here's the return code. This is basically what they call JSON. It's a structured return that basically gives this stuff here. So you can tell you the changes that you made, the error code, which is 0, and the username, which is blanked out for security. And it's that easy. So if I had 100 of these units, I could just run the Ansible playbook on 100 units, and then it would just go through and add the new user that I made on every single little unit. So I don't have to log in, username, password, find the unit I want to log into, create the user, and try to remember all the exact steps to make all the users exactly the same. Because what happens is big companies like power companies or whatever, they have to, it's mandatory they change their users like every 60 days. And you can imagine the eyes roll when 60 days come around and you have to change passwords on like 150, 200 units on a small network. And it could be thousands on a big network because the Ansible works cross-platform. So it can work with WTI devices, Cisco, Juniper, Windows, Linux, Mac, blah, 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 blah. So you basically run one script to change the usernames in building 5. And then it would change everything. So you don't have to look stuff up, try to remember, or just make sure you create all the same users on everyone without screwing up. and hopefully this helps you out.